D represent data bus. Here, to minimize the overall number of pins, they are multiplexed with each other. When they carry address, that particular signals will carry address. When they carry data, then they will disable to carry address. So either vice versa. So that is the way in which these address signals are. So please write it down from pin number 2 to 16, AD02, AD15. They are called to address and data bus. So the lower order address bus, these are all multiplexed with the data. So they carry both data as well as means address. So when the AD lines are used to transmit memory address, then they are plainly represented A0 to A15. Okay, no. So when they are carried data, then it is represented as D0 to D15. Sometimes we may use 8-bit data, so it is D0 to D7. Sometimes you use 16-bit data, D0 to D15. So here you can use accordingly. Any message? So that is the significance of this AD0 to AD15. Clear? So that is the first signal. So we understand. So here, since to make up the 20-bit address bit, the additional bits are here. You can see here. AD 16, 17, 18 and 19. So this AD 16 to 19, they will be used for this. And that's what A15, A16, A17, and they are mingled with other dual operation called as status. S represents status. So whenever there is a differentiation, it is this particular pin are used for two purposes. The earlier it is used for carrying address and data. Okay, no? So any problem here? Clear. So next signal is this particular 35 to 38. They carry both the higher byte of address A15, A16, A17 and A18 and A19, plus sometimes they also used to represent the status S3, S4, S5 and S6. They are used to, so here it is multiplexed with status signals. Okay, no? The next one is BHE S7. So this is bus high enable. It is used to enable data. So whenever there is a data in your D8 to D15, that is been indicated through this particular bus high enable. It is used to enable data on the most significant half of the data bus. When I say MSP, it is D8 to D15. This 8-bit device connected to the upper half of the data bus. So this bus high enable will be active, means logical 1. And it is multiplexed with other status signal S7. So that is the third one. So first write it down one by one. First signal is AD0 to AD15. So they are multiplexed with data and address. Then 35 to 38. So AD16 to A19. Don't add D here. Why? Because this is purely address bus. AD Radu. So please modify in your notebook. Don't write D here. Only this portion, because this is purely acting as the address A16, A17, A18 and A19 and status 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one. Okay, no? So this, here you have to add AD0 to AD15. Why? Because they work as address bus sometimes and multiplexed with data bus. Okay, no? So that is 33 pin, it is representing the 34 pin, it is representing bus high enable. 34. Whereas 33 signal, it is representing M and MX. We have already discussed this one in the earlier architecture. Clear? So here, the overall 8086 microprocessor works in minimum and maximum. To indicate the mode in which your 8086 is operating is indicated in 833. Clear? So when this particular signal is high, indicates that this is in minimum mode. Otherwise, maximum. Minimum mode means single processor mode. When it's maximum mode, one or more 8086 microprocessors are cascaded. You can add one or more microprocessor so that you can able to perform a multi-processor architecture can be built by making the processor to work in single processor mode or multi-processor. That is indicated by this particular signal 33. Okay, no? Next is read write. Clear? So read operation. What is meant by read operation? We read memory from memory data. We read input data that is given by input device. So this particular read initiation is initiated in the 32 signal. So this is a signal for read operation. So this is an output signal. Basically, the information goes from processor to your memory. Clear? So when always this is going to be active low, means the signal always here at the will be 0. That is what the meaning of low. Next one is test signal. Test is a pin that is again input signal. You can see the arrow mark. It is going into the processor. It means that any peripheral which is communicating with your processor can use this test signal to indicate or to know the status of your processor. So this test input is to test the wait instruction. Whenever the 8086 execution mode goes to wait state, possibly to resume to the normal execution, this test signal is an hardware active, low hardware active. This is used to synchronize the external activity to the processor internal. So you see what is the status of this particular processor is tested through this particular test signal. So whenever the signal, that's what, the wait instruction will resume the execution only when the test is made low. So when the signal is low, that indicates that the wait instruction is executed and the next instruction can be start execute, or we can send the next packet or the next data to your processor. That is what the test. So whenever this is low, indicates that the processor have come out of the wait state and it can take the next data for its computation. That is what the test signal. It is a signal used by the coprocessor to understand the state of your 8086 microprocessor, simply to say. That is test. Next is ready. So ready is an signal that is given by the 8086 microprocessor. This is an acknowledgement from the slow device or a memory that they have completed the data transfer. That means whenever there is a data transfer happening with the memory or output devices, sometimes the output devices are slow devices. So for example, you give a printer to a printer. So printer takes some time to print that particular document. Then the next print command is given by the processor to print the next one. So here the synchronization between the slow device and the fast processor needs to be managed. That management is done through this particular ready signal. Ready is an acknowledgement from the slow device or a memory that they have completed the data transfer. Then this signal made available to the device which are synchronized with your 8284 clock, which is a measurement device provided in the 8086. So always this particular ready signal will be high. So whenever we talk about any particular signal here in 8086, we need to understand what is its initial stage. Most of the signals initial stage will be low. When I say low, the logic will be 0. When I say active high, the logic will be 1. Clearly, you know, only the logical operation will be either 0 or 1. So when I say active high, the particular signal will always remains logic 1. That is the meaning of ready. The next one is reset. This reset is a very fantastic signal given to 8086 to make sure that if any abnormality happens while you are executing, you are interfacing a device with your 8086, everything is stopped working. You don't have any option to restart your system. Then you can press this reset button. Every microcontroller or microprocessor based system, they have got this reset button, which will help the processor to restart its operation internally from the start. So that is what that reset is all about. So now, can you recollect before we go to the other pins? Chat window, or let me come to the class. Electronic circuits requires a ground signal. So pin number 1 and 20, they are used to represent the clock comes from this 19 symbol. 19 is used to represent the, what about the weeks? So you can see ready is over, reset is over, ground is missing. So read, ground is used to represent the You can see. So here you have got ground 1 and 20. They are used to represent the ground signal. Then we have got the ground. So here a ground is 1 and 20 is representing the ground to close any circuit. Then we have got clock signal. So as we already know that 8086 has got a external clock called as 8284, which works with an asymmetric duty cycle of 33%. What is the purpose of this clocks generator? The clock generator of crystal clocks used to measure the internal operation. Measure the internal operations. We use this clock pulse. So the timing signal comes from this particular clock. So the clock generator will be at this particular place. So you can use a clock generator which is connected at this particular point and provides the clock signals through this particular 19th pin. Clear? So this 19th pin help us in indicating clock, incoming clock. So you consider that there is a clock generator. The output of this clock generator is connected to this particular 19th pin to measure the internal operations happens at your 8086 microprocessor. That is clock. Then we have got interrupt request. So this is a triggered input. This is a particular sample during the last clock cycle of every end of executing each instruction. This particular INR, interrupt request signal, is verified. Any external input is coming through this INTR indicates that there is an interrupt request. When I say interrupt, it is the disturbance to the normal execution. Normal execution means what? Fetch, decode and execute. So when this cycle is disturbed by a power failure, and the power failure is indicated through this interrupt request. This is actually power failure is NMI, non-maskable interrupt. You cannot stop the power failure. But you want a DMA operation, which is an initiated internal operation that can be done requested through this INTR. So this is a software interrupt which can be requested through this INTR pin number 18. Clear now? This signal always remains high and internally synchronized. So any execution of end of every instruction execution, the processor verifies the signal of INTR 18th pin. ఎందుకంటే బయట నుంచి ఏదైనా న్యూ రిక్వెస్ట్ వచ్చిందా, ఇంటరప్ట్ వచ్చిందా లేదా అని చెక్ చేస్తుంది. ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ నో, then it fetches the next instruction from the instruction queue, decode, execute. The cycle will be normal. But if there is any new interrupts comes, the processor suspends its internal activity immediately and pushes all its return address to the stack segment and take up the new interrupt request and execute the task. Then once the interrupt request service is executed, then the normal program execution will start up and take up. That is what the importance of INTR 18th pin. Whereas NMI is also another type of interrupt where this particular interrupt cannot be stopped. When there is a interrupt request comes at 17th pin, the processor has to immediately postpone all the current action. It has to take a very good example is power failure or divide any number by 0, which is an abnormal condition generated as a software interrupts, which possibly has to be resolved by your 8086 microprocessor. So such a kind of operations are managed by your in NMI. So here this 17 and 18 we will be discussing in detail when you come to the unit number 3, where we will be talking more about interrupts and interrupt structures of 8086 microprocessor. Okay, now so now other signals we have got VCC, which is the input signal given to your microprocessor. Clear? Now comes the difference between minimum mode and maximum mode relies only with this pin number from 24 to 31. 24 to 31 will make the difference with respect to the mode in which your 8086 microprocessor is currently working. Whether it is in minimum mode, then these signals will be activated like this. From these signals will be activated like this. So you can work with these signals. When it is in maximum mode, the same pin number, but the meaning of the pin will change. We will discuss this and we will close the class. So now that is the next slide. So the microprocessor, 8086 microprocessor either works in minimum mode or maximum mode. So when it is in minimum mode, the particular thing is indicated by this 33 pin number. So 8086 microprocessor can work in 2 modes of operation. minimum mode and maximum mode. In minimum mode, the operation is do not associate with any coprocessor and cannot be used for multi-processor system. In maximum mode, the 8086 can work in multi-processor or co-processor configuration. So minimum and maximum mode operation is decided by the pin 33. Clear now? When this particular pin is high, it indicates that the 8086 microprocessor is in minimum mode. When it is otherwise, it is in maximum mode. So we will see the first minimum mode operations, then we will go to the maximum mode operation. The difference comes only with these pins. 24 నుంచి 31 వరకు ఉన్న పిన్స్ మినిమం మోడ్ లో ఒక రకంగా పనిచేస్తుంది, maximum mode ఇంకో ఒక రకంగా పనిచేస్తుంది. సో ముందు we will discuss about the minimum mode operations, then we will get into the maximum mode. Try to understand the meaning of each signal, that is more than enough. So now 33 pin number indicates whether you are going to be in minimum mode or maximum mode. So when the logic is 1 here, when the logic is 1, it is going to be in minimum mode. So you are going to work in minimum. So the minimum mode signals are 24, 30, you can see in INTA, interrupt acknowledgement, output signal, ALA, address latch enable, 26 data enable, DT/R, it is data transmit or data receive. If you can see memory or input output operation, write operation, hold acknowledgement, hold operation. So these are all the signals which are in minimum mode. We'll see one by one. So these are all the things we'll discuss. So now pin number 21, 34 to 31 will be operated when this M1 by M axis is logic high. So the 80 itself generate all the bus control signals. So now you can see one by one. When it is in minimum mode, the signal DT/DTR is data transmit/receive. The output signal from the processor to control the direction of the data flow through the data receiver. That means data transmit means from processor to the external connected device. Then you can have data receive operation. So it can be receiving the data from the, so whether it is perform data transmit or data receive operation. The next one is data enable. This is also an output signal. So when I say output signal, processor నుంచి బయటకు వస్తుంది. Processor నుంచి when the signal comes out to connected peripherals, then it is called as output signal. Some signal they go into the processor, some signal both in and out, bidirectional. If you look at data bus, it is a bidirectional bus. What I'm saying? So you can able to understand the difference here. Got it? So data enable is an output signal from the processor used as an output enable for receiver to perform transmit and receive operation. Next is ALE, used to demultiplex the address and data line used in the external line. So whether to determine the processor is carrying data or address in the line AD0 to AD15 is indicated by ALE. Then M/IO, it's differentiate whether the processor is performing memory access or input output access. So memory reference instruction, it is always going to be high. And for input output instruction, it is going to be to communicating with IO devices using in and out instruction, it is going to be logic low, 0. Then we have got write operation. You know what is write operation? Write is nothing but it is always going to be low, writing a data onto the memory on the specified location, or writing a data or sending the data to an output device through the IO ports. Then it is called write signal. Then we have got interrupt acknowledgement. When there is an interrupt comes at the 18th or pin number, when the normal program is suspended and you are going to start the new program, then that particular acceptance is notified through this interrupt acknowledgement signal. So when an interrupt request is accepted by the processor, the output is low on this particular signal 24. That is all about minimum mode signal. You come to the hold signal. Hold is a signal to processor from bus master to the class. So here this will be specifically used during DMA operation. So DMA operation, what happens? The DMA controller takes the control of memory and data bus, address and data bus, and they perform data transfer without the involvement of processor. So this hold is a signal used to request the bus for the DMA operations. Clear? The one that is granted, that is been indicated through this hold acknowledgements. So that is what the specific use of hold and hold acknowledgement. So these are the pins that we will be using in the minimum mode operation. And the last one is maximum mode. During maximum mode, you can see again the pin number 24 to 31 is changed. And here we have got the signal status from S0 to S2, S01. So 26, 27, 28. They indicate what is the operation. They are the status signal used by the 8086 bus controller to generate what is the control signals, what is the kind of operation that your 8086 is performing. So when S0, all three are 0, the processor is acknowledging an interrupt. When it is 001, it is performing reading the input read operation. When it is 010, it is write operation. When 011, it is going to be halt operation. When it's 100, code access. 101, read the memory. 110, it is write to onto the memory. When it is all 1, it is going to be inactive and passive state. So this three signal 26 to 28 indicates the status of your 8086 microprocessor. Okay. Next is Q0, QS0 and QS0 represent the queue status. You know that the 8086 provides the status of the queue in the line. So this queue status can be used by the external device to track the internal status of the queue. So we have got a 6-byte queue inside your 8086. So this particular Q0, QS0 and QS1 indicate what is the status of your queue. So when both the signals are 0, there is no operation. When it is 01, first byte of the opcode from the queue is extracted. 10, queue is empty. 11, the subsequent byte from the queue is taken. Then next one is RQGT0 and RQGT1, which is bus request / bus grant. This is a request used by the local bus master during the multiprocessor operation. So when we are working in a multiprocessor operation, it means that one or more 8086 microcontroller are connected in a cascade. In such a case, one master processor requests the service of the slave processor. That has been indicated by this request and grant signal. So here this will indicate bidirectionally, request comes and grant is given through this particular signal. And the last one is lock signal, which is a specific instruction which is prefixed with this lock, indicate that particular portion of the instructions remains locked, and the execution of the instruction is prefixed by lock is prevent the other bus master from gaining the control of that particular system. So any instruction which is prefixed by lock instruction indicates that particular portion of the program holds the system bus until they release the lock. So that is the final. So here now plainly, if you look at the whole diagram, you have to be able to understand so this is a plain diagram. So now we are done with the signals and pins with respect to 8086 microprocessor. Where is the input voltage you have to supply?